And we are back for the last episode of D tier, as my throat attempts to self-destruct. And, four more races ahead of us, and the championship is actually a fight now, as opposed to the start of the last episode, where I thought it was all hopeless, but no. It's... At this current moment, it's still advantage to Schwartz, but if he has another race like his episode 3 of this championship, it may not be his for too long. Though at a track like the Monza circuits, it's going to be unlikely that either of the top two drivers are going to score much, so they'll have to make the most out of Zandvoort and Laguna Seca to keep up with the impending force of Ryan Wolf and possibly even Wayne Hansen, because those two cars are going to dominate at Monza if they get any kind of decent starting grid spots. But let's get Zandvoort out of the way. This is usually one of the more boring tracks to watch because there's only one passing zone and the AI don't know how to use it. Well, other than turn 1. We've arrived at the starting grid for Zandvoort, and, well, I said Isabella and Schwartz will have to take advantage of these low speed, or not very, high downforce style tracks, though it doesn't really matter because what downforce? Half of these cars don't really even have downforce, and GT4s don't exactly have a ton of it. But, well, they've certainly got more than a Ford GT40. But yeah, the best way to take advantage of a track is to start on pole. Though, she'd better get a very good takeoff into turn 1, because Wayne and Ryan are right there, 2nd and 4th. Dedrick, however, won't be scoring too much. He starts 10th. So Isabella needs to at least manage 3rd place. If she can't win, ideal world for her, she'd be at least, Wayne wins. Ryan winning is not what she needs. As my dehumidifier kicks on in the background. What a wait for that. Wayne's already out of here. That's quite a bit of horsepower, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Surprise to me, well, okay. Ryan almost didn't get passed by Carly, but then she met a curb, and then it was pretty easy for him to do that. Because this is a very good place for Isabella. If this finishes as it is right now, I think she actually takes the points lead. No, she'd actually tie for it. As Dedrick got up place from the start. And she's clearly faster on most of this track compared to Wayne and Ryan, which would be good for her keeping 2nd. But it's not going to help her pass the Lamborghini. Oh my god, of course I'm getting interrupted. Never fails. I've been watching YouTube videos all afternoon, but at the moment, literally within 2 minutes of me hitting the record button, is when somebody comes down the stairs. For a silly reason, too. Just trying to find the correct plastic bin to put the Rubbermaid lid back on. It doesn't matter, it's Rubbermaid lid, but whatever. Thrasher has overtaken Schwartz. But Handling will get him back ahead for the moment. This is going to be an interesting interaction into the next turn. Goes up ahead, Taylor tries to pass Yoshiro. Dodger curb hops, and there goes that place. So now with that development, Isabella would be ahead in points by exactly 1. And would distance herself another 2 points away from Ryan, who seems to not have much for these top 2. But I don't think Isabella's going to be passing Hansen anytime soon, just because of all of that horsepower. Carly somehow is still holding on to 4th place, and to be honest, I'm not sure how that is happening. Considering the armada of GT4 cars that she is keeping behind. These two are still going at it for 9th place. Now Dedrick takes advantage. So now we're back to dead even. I don't know how Dedrick even got a run on him. It's a GT40 down the main straightaway. That should be the only time that he shouldn't be able to do that. Oh. Surprisingly, Cam's not in last. But he's not exactly about to score either. It's a really weird catch-22 because if Isabella is here behind him, he's going to be right behind him or she's going to be behind him the whole time. But if you know, even if Isabella were to get ahead of him, it wouldn't matter because as soon as they got back to the front straightaway, Wayne would just like screech past her anyway. It wouldn't matter. The results here are basically preordained, unfortunately. Now Dedrick has passed Taylor, so he would retake his point. Well, now he just has the points lead again by 2. And considering the gigantic traffic jam gridlock cluster that's happening up here, wouldn't surprise me if that position got higher. Literally, as I say that, and then cut back to his screen, he's taking 7th away from Yoshiro. Or trying, anyway. Meanwhile, Carly's finally lost 4th. It really shouldn't have taken that long. There's a curb there. It could end up a lot worse for him. That's a lot of... oh boy. So I had seen that the fastest lap went to Ryan last lap by 0.2. Nope, not quite how you make that corner. So any advantage he might have just gained just went out the window. Travis has already gotten like 4 seconds away from Carly. And Stephanie's about to start doing the same. And don't give it too long, Dedrick will probably also be doing that. No, actually, Carly's incompetence there actually made him lose a place. For a moment. Or maybe just period. I don't know. Dude got the worst exit I've ever seen, and he's still keeping dead even with the Maserati, and actually getting ahead, because the Maserati apparently is useless. Even the inside lane of that corner couldn't help her make the pass. Maybe. It's really hard to tell, but I don't think it will. Oh no, it barely will. After a slide job, basically. Dedrick's gonna try the outside now. I would say he's being over-aggressive, but A, he's fighting for a championship. B, Yoshiro is looking more like an obstacle than a race car. Isabella, if you're concealing something, I would probably use it. If you're hiding some sort of crazy braking zone trickery, or maybe an adjustable wing setting, I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't think you have anything. Because Travis pretty much caught up to Ryan on this lap, and if there were another lap in this race, I wouldn't have put it beyond Travis to have taken third from him, especially with the way that Ryan's been driving. Case in point, that corner, whatever the heck that was. Another lap and Ryan doing that would have probably given Travis a top 3. So Isabella's effectively done her job. She's going to take second. There's nothing that really she could do about that Lamborghini, but she stayed super close the whole race because that's how this track typically works. Ryan also kind of doing his job. Dedrick taking 7th back from Yoshiro will keep him in the points lead, but not by a whole lot. And the GTRs really don't enjoy this track. I don't think they did very well in the last tier, and they certainly didn't do too well here. Cam actually took 12th from Thomas. That's a surprise to me. It is 2 points between Isabella and Schwartz. Still 12 between Ryan and Schwartz, but a race win for Ryan and no points for his 2 title rivals put him right in the front. Wayne is also now relevant as he is only 17 back from Dedrick, and those two are getting their best tracks right at the end. So, Laguna Seca is going to be very scary, basically, because that's going to be probably 4 people that are competing for the championship at the final race. 4 people in 4 mostly different cars. I mean, it's kind of handling versus top speed, really. But still. It should be quite interesting, assuming the starting grid gods allow it to be interesting. Because the starting grid gods could just say that Ryan Wolf starts on pole in both these races, and then nothing's going to happen, so Isabella and Dedrick, Isabella especially, just kind of has to tough it out through these tracks, because even if she started on pole, she's probably not going to get many points, because this is a top speed track, and the Lotus doesn't have much of that. And here on the starting grid of Monza, very cloudy morning, and the game has chosen its chosen one. That didn't work. Isabella might start second, but as I've said already, I don't know how much that's going to help. I mean, she's got a couple of Caymans for a cushion in between herself and the top speed duo down here, who will also have to contend with each other if they want to fight for the championship as well, so that's going to be interesting. And Dedrick got yeeted, so, I mean, he's not out of points. He can still score, but he's probably not going to be scoring nearly as much as his title rivals if things go as I expect them to. Though to be fair, it's Monza, so they usually don't go how I expect them to, so we'll just have to see. Rasher's the pole sitter, he'll get the early advantage into 1. A bit more extra power in the GT40 compared to a Lotus. Well, that's not the sight I imagined to see. Wayne must have gotten a horrific start if he just got passed by Cam at Monza. This is putting Wayne effectively out of it for the moment, because he's having to negotiate that. It didn't take very long, but that's still about 10 seconds. He wasn't able to pass anybody or do anything else. Again, Isabella is right in the zone. If she can just stay here, she'll get a pretty comfortable points lead. Gaining on both the Lamborghini and 12C, while handily passing Dedrick in points, even though he is running 7th. And, you know, he's still not ahead of either of the other two that he has to be ahead of, or Isabella for that matter. As Ryan's already up to 4th from starting 8th, so that gives you an indication of just how that race is going, how this race is probably going to go. If Isabella is lucky, the probable aggression between these two drivers is going to end up putting one of them in a sand trap. And this would be just the opportunity for that to take place. As we just kind of play the waiting game. Yeah, good luck with that one. Isabella should remain mindful of Stephanie, not Cam, who has a slight top speed advantage. But not nearly as much as that one. Now, the handling of the GT4s can stave off the road-going cars for a bit, but probably not forever. As... I got cross-eyed for a second. Oh, Ryan's put himself in the grass. Just about came back on the track into Hansen. That would have been a dream scenario for Isabella. But Wayne was situationally aware and didn't slam into him. So Dedrick, now in 6th, trying his darndest to defend his point lead, but now he's got Eric behind him. That car is not going to be easy to keep behind him because the 458 is certainly not a slouch in a straight line, even if it's kind of lacking handling compared to some of the other cars in this class. This is Eric's best chance to make a last-second resurgence and at least to not be bottom 5 in the point standings, but who knows for real? Who knows really? I want to look at this, but at the same time I know there's stuff happening up here. Oh yeah, there is. It's a conga line through Variante Ascari. Wayne totally screws up, and that's going to give Wolf a chance to take back 4th. Does Wayne resist? Does Stephanie pass Isabella here? I think she does. And for a second there, I thought she was going to try and advance straight to the lead. Dedrick is just kind of looking on, but probably keeping an eye in his mirror as well. There goes Ryan. Unsurprisingly, he's going to now also pass Stephanie. I'm surprised I don't see Wayne yet. There he is. Dedrick is the fastest car on track, but you know, for obvious reasons, because he's not trying to pass anybody just yet, but I think now he will be, and he'll also, again, Eric still looming in his mirror. Top speed advantage you can still see here exists. Does he use it without putting himself in the gravel? As Wayne almost just did just now. Now Ryan and Thrasher are fighting for the lead as Stephanie defends from Isabella. We've got a good old Monza train of tomfoolery going on. Not really I expected anything less out of this one. Again, if I'm in Isabella's position, in this particular race, I'm not totally worried about Ryan and Wayne. Just because I think it's more of an inevitability at this point, given the power difference between these two cars. I'd be more worried about what Schwartz is doing, because that's the person that she's got to be ahead of right now. As Thrasher and Ryan are fighting through Ascari. That's always a risky place to fight. That would be why. What on earth? How'd that just happen? Someone put some Eurobeat over that. My god, Ryan just straight up inertia drifted through the second part of Ascari, and I don't know how he kept that going straight at all. Oh, now it's really kicking off. Isabella's gotten temporarily back around Wayne. No, wait, she was never passed to begin with. She has a chance to use her acceleration against Stephanie, but she has to remain mindful that Wayne's going to be passing her in a second, too. Isabella's very indecisive, but the more she does that, you know, Dedric's still there, albeit behind Eric now. Eric is going to try and pass Isabella, meanwhile Wayne tries to pass Stephanie. Neither of those passes work because inside line. And now Wayne tries to overtake Stephanie. He's going to probably put himself in the grass once more. Nope, he manages to avoid mowing the lawn for just a moment. Eric doesn't send it. Isabella sends it, almost throws herself off the track. I don't really know what she was thinking. I think she's seeing red here. Also, Cam's still in 8th? Huh? How is this transpiring? There's no reason that car should be anywhere other than bottom 3 with how much speed it has, or lack thereof. Ryan Wolf has absolutely checked out of this one. Stephanie can hope and pray all she wants. I don't really know if she has the top speed to catch Thrasher. Eric's still hounding the Lotus. The Lotus able to brake late enough to stay ahead, but I don't know how much longer that's going to work for. Eric also kind of messing up that corner, giving Isabella a little bit of personal space. Wayne's got an advantage on Stephanie here. Will he take it? He certainly will. Stephanie suddenly forced into defense mode, probably caught off guard because she thought she was far enough away to not have to worry about it. She was wrong. Here's Hansen. Here's Eric. Extreme super late braking technique from Isabella is going to keep her there. I don't know why Eric didn't just go back across the road and prevent that from happening, but now he's really far back again. Not quite under threat from Dedric, but also, you know, he's only going to have the final corner, really, to reasonably try and pass Isabella. Because I think Ascari, she's going to have the handling advantage enough to keep ahead. Unless she does that here, in which case, then, I don't know. Stephanie's been overtaken by Wayne. He will try to follow through and pass Thrasher, which he will succeed at. Thrasher rejoins the track, and Stephanie doesn't really know what to do with that information. Isabella has rejoined the battle. Well, this is one way to keep Eric behind you. He can't pass you if you're already too wide with somebody else. You just kind of have to stay there and not hit something or stay in the grass for too long, which, I mean, doing just well enough. Will she make a last-second pass? Stephanie pretty much cutting the track there, but to be fair, want to leave extra space. And not do that. Oh, there goes that one, Isabella. And now Dedric is passing Eric as he's having to sit behind all of this. So that's not going to leave Isabella with any option other than to probably send it on Stephanie again. And Isabella's attempt to make up more points is actually going to cost her any chance of taking the points lead away. As Dedric pulls out a miraculous 5th from just waiting his turn, more or less. Cam pulls 3 points, or nope, I know the point system. 8th place is 4 points. I know math. I think Isabella a little annoyed with Stephanie. Honestly, I mean, there was still a lane there to use through that left-hander. She just freaked out. I mean, I guess if I were driving a car that weighed like 67 pounds, I'd probably panic too if a Porsche nearly ran me over, but there was still enough room to, you know, not crash. Although I do know the curbs around that corner are terrifying at the best of times, so it's really hard to say. And yeah, now we head into the classic Monza circuit, and it is 10 points between first and fourth. Stephanie almost had a chance to win the championship at this point, but not quite. This is going to be quite interesting because Ryan could easily take the points lead here. I don't think Wayne can, because he'd have to gain 10 more points than everybody else while scoring more than Ryan, which I find unlikely. Even if Ryan and Wayne started dead last in this race, considering the layout of the Monza 66 road course, I would be shocked if one of those two didn't win the race. But, I mean, weirder things have happened, it's just a matter of they don't usually happen. Yeah, the game has really chosen one. Again, it didn't work before, it doesn't roll off right now. Sorting Grid gods have definitely blessed Isabella today. I mean, they already gave her plenty of good starts before. They gave Dedrick a bunch of good starts, so I guess maybe they see it as only fair that they give Isabella about the same number. I don't really know how much is going to help, but I mean, she does have a few positions between her and herself and Wayne and Ryan. And Dedrick has to try and stay ahead of them, while also negotiating these two, which is going to be quite a laugh, quite an interesting thing to see. Also a very bizarre starting grid. These old tracks just kind of do that. Track will get thinner. Eventually, Thomas will have to move over. Yeah, he will, but just a matter of by the time he does, he'll be ahead. Grip! Handling! This is more helpful than you'd expect at this track. Honestly, probably more helpful than it is at the modern version. Dedrick already down in ninth. He's already been consumed by the top speed demons. Somehow Wayne even got ahead of Ryan, and I don't know how that happened. But here we are. It is certainly in everyone's best interest if they keep Ryan behind Wayne. And obviously behind Isabella, but I don't really know how well that's going to work. If that is to happen, Isabella needs to make good her escape plan, but I don't really know how much that's going to help when this thing only hits 150, and this thing hits 150 in this corner. As now Wayne screwed up and has been overtaken by Ryan. I've seen a pattern developing in the last two races. Wayne keeps messing up and giving Ryan the advantage in the corners. And now Thomas will just kind of drive off into the sunset. Even though the sun's not really setting yet, but that, you know, figure of speech. 6 laps here because, all things considered, the laps aren't terribly long. The actual racing lap is going to be like a minute 35 or so. There's a traffic jam on the front straightaway, and this is always sketchy to watch. Wayne will just kind of back out and wait, because he doesn't really have many other options against the GT4 in that corner. Ryan got his pass done before that, so he got an advantage. So Asher just moved out to pass Isabella, and that just about spun Ryan out. Yoshiro's gonna bravely come back at him. You gotta use the handling while it matters, I suppose. I mean, great pass and all, but horsepower. Yeah, kind of waste effort there, Yoshiro. That's a lot of grass, pal. And Thomas really is just out of here. As I know that Lambo was another gear. Don't act like it doesn't, Wayne. I know this thing goes like 220, so don't even act like there's not another gear there. As I say, don't tell me these two are about to have a try and have a drag race. That's not going to end well at all once they hit turn 1. Now, Wayne, you better just back out of that. There's nothing to gain from that. Isabella on the outside lane may have a chance, but no, because she lost the place entirely. Isabella, I would just not fight it. It's just easier and safer if you do not contend. I would say just keep Dedrick behind you, but it seems that there are plenty of other people already doing that for you. I would say hope that Thomas has enough of a buffer to keep the lead from him, but no. No, he doesn't. This straightaway ends and Ryan's already going to be on his taillights. And then some, possibly. He's on something with that racing line. I don't know if it's on his taillights, but he's on something. Oh shoot, Eric is now in the picture. Again. Considering he started dead last, he's putting on quite a show. He's already passed 10 cars in 2.5 laps. Thrasher's AI really fails to pick a lane. They're both going to have to slow down because they're going to both catch Isabella before the corner. The AI watching up like that is always really scary because I've definitely seen... It hasn't happened yet, but I've definitely seen them go in the grass before out there and off themselves. Travis might have done so based on that damage, but it's hard to say for sure. Suddenly Yoshiro. What the heck? I don't think you have the facilities for that, big Maserati. Yeah, Ryan is unsurprisingly in the lead. Wayne is unsurprisingly taken second. I am being spammed party invitations from people I do not wish to talk to. Hendrick looking for 6th on Thrasher. Again, it's all about damage mitigation for him in this race, so he needs to have a deficit, or at least to be within range of winning going into the final round. Thrasher will finally take his shot at Isabella, and I think he'll take it. Isabella's gonna maybe try on the outside, but honestly that's a bad idea. Because that's just inviting that thing. You're doing it again, Isabella. You've done this so many times in the past. You'd have the points lead by now to keep going for dumb passes on people you can't pass. Doesn't seem to matter how much the starting grid blesses you. You just can't seem to just put yourself in the mindset of score points, not victories. This track's not built for your car. I mean, I don't blame you for trying to pass. That's the person you have to stay ahead of in points. And that pass would be the difference between 1st in points or 3rd in points, basically. because resident sleeper in all of this, Ryan Wolf's going to take the points lead, not either of you. You'd have to be in 4th or 2nd to take the points lead, and Wayne's going to be doing that, and he might actually be 3rd and 2nd in points the way this is developing. Actually, probably not. Dedrick will try again on Thrasher. This will be an interesting drag race. Thrasher will have the power advantage though, so I think it's going to go back to him. And now suddenly Hikari is entering the picture. The GTR has good top speed, just doesn't have all the handling in the world. He's going to make a last-second effort. But Isabella's got all kinds of mechanical grip to hold the outside line here, and nothing will happen. Thomas has since been passed by Eric. I totally missed that one. Oh god, get that off the screen. He's in 6th place on lap 6 of 6. Oh dear. Suddenly Hikari again. And he will take it last second. Ryan will take another victory. And Isabella was going to lose another. Okay, starting grid gods, like, can't you see that she is unworthy? I mean, it's wasted effort. Maybe at Laguna Seca it's a possibility because of all the handling, but it's just like, it's like really hard to think. What happened to you? And here's what I mean. You get forced up a little bit high by Carly and Wall. And then you had a blue screen of death, basically. Finally, Cam crosses the line and we can move on to the final round. Suddenly things are looking kind of bleak, as now suddenly Ryan is so far ahead in points. I mean, it's only 6 points, but that's like 5 places, basically. Yeah, that's like top 5. If Ryan gets 3rd in this race, it's over. Even if Dedrick wins, there's nothing that can be done about. And at this point, Isabella would need, she would need a top 3 just to have a chance of winning the championship. And that's assuming Ryan doesn't score anything, which would mean he'd have to start like 14th for that to happen. On the starting grid for Laguna Seca, and this is exactly what Ryan didn't want to see. Wayne's not in the best place, no, but Dedrick and Isabella are starting right next to, well, starting on the grid next to each other, not right next to each other, because they're on different rows, but anyway. Only one of these two needs to get a top 3, and Ryan is screwed. Because basically 6 points between Dedrick and Ryan, and this is scoring him 12. This is also scoring Isabella 10, but Isabella's behind him, so Isabella needs to pass him, and somebody else needs to pass him for her to win the championship. or Isabella needs to somehow win, which would mean her passing literally the same car that's in front of her. So, I think advantage Dedrick starting this race, barring unforeseen circumstances, anyway. Yeah, I don't think so. If anything, it might end up being, well, Isabella might dive on him. Nope, she doesn't. No, she doesn't have to. Because they'll just kind of miss the corner for her. But she'll pretty much just let him back in, instead of cutting him off, so yeah, nothing. Ryan going nowhere, actually going down, so... And Wayne is going up, but that doesn't matter if he doesn't beat the other two. And, so yeah, right now, Dedrick wins by... 6 points. My ear's very itchy. Isabella would barely take second in points. So unless those two both compromise themselves trying to pass, and or, you know, avoid being passed, I think Dedrick's got this one. And no one knows how to make turn one. Okay. As Wayne just drives into Hikari. Ryan's still out of points. At this point, he would need to score 6 points to defend the points lead, and that would be assuming Dedrick doesn't ever pass Taylor. So Ryan would need a top 5 right now if Dedrick makes the pass on Taylor, he would need 3rd, and right now he's sitting in 12th. I just got cross-eyed again somehow there. I think Cam was run into. Wayne's been passed by Yoshiro. Are either of you going to make it this time? No, none of you are, and that's going to pretty much say happy birthday to Dedrick because apparently the Lotuses can't stop. Though it is the inside lane for Taylor. So she may be able to hang on. She just barely does. Cam with the fastest lap. Okay. Didn't quite expect that, but I mean, you're back there 10, 11 seconds away from everybody else, so I don't see what the point in that weird flex was. Yeah, you ran the fastest lap. That's because there's nobody else around you. If you look anywhere else on the track, you'll see a giant train of cars. Taylor keeps also just slightly missing the apex and the corkscrew as well. One of these times, Dedrick will make her pay. I'm fairly certain of it. Ryan's in 11th now. He may score in the final race, but, like, not enough. I don't know why Dedrick doesn't just send it on the last corner. I mean, at the same time, I do know why, because, like, he's already won if he stays here. Or even if Isabella somehow passes him, which I don't see that coming, or being very likely. Not with that. Like, what is the malfunction there? Are the brakes on the Lotus Elite, the Lotus 211, just that bad? Like, look at the bars down there. They hardly even make any braking input. That's probably why they don't make the corner. It's also probably why Taylor keeps missing the corkscrew by a little bit, because she's probably, you know, not braking enough to slow down. Wayne will take 5th back. Hindsight, Laguna Seca may not be the best finale track. I'm starting to see. I mean, it's certainly close quarters, but like, the AI almost never pass here. The one passing zone there is, they both keep screwing up, so it's really just like neutral. Here we go again. One more time with feeling. Even if like Isabella were making the corner, she'd probably have had a chance at winning the race too. She just kind of never did. If any of them started making turn 1, they'd have probably won the race just off that alone, but... Also, Cam got his way back up to the lead group. That's how much those trains harm you when you're stuck in them. Cam literally made up 14 seconds in 5 laps, and he's not going to score anything out of doing that, but, you know. And so despite his second half incompetence, Cedric's going to have one breakout performance here at Laguna Seca, and that's going to be enough for him to secure the championship. Well, Isabella made a noticeable resurgence in the second half. The track just don't go her way for the second half of the championship, and all of that hope was just tossed out the window. Ryan will come home with 0 points. So his last second threat will not come to pass. And take one last look at the points. By 5, Dedrick is the winner over Isabella, who took second by exactly 1 point. Wayne almost re-overtook Ryan as well. Had he passed Yoshiro, that would have been very close. Or no, whoever was in 4th, I don't remember who finished 4th. Oh, it was Hikari, but I think they got too far ahead of him. So that was the championship. Very boring in the first half, very crazy in the second half, until we hit the last race, and then it was pretty much just 6 laps of watching the AI miss turn 1. And things get stepped up pretty far for Tier E. As you can see there on the far right, we have GT style cars, GT3s and GTEs, and I think a couple of GT2s. Some returning some names who have been absent for a bit are returning for that. But that's for next time.